All right, gentlemen, top of the morning, back again. You guys ready?
Yeah.
I'm excited, man. So, man, another big one. I'm gonna say that. Not gonna say favorite, but another big one. Dude, I was thinking, and me and Morgan were talking about this yesterday, Dylan. We were talking about accountability. And I think that that's a really good topic to talk about because for everybody, right? I mean, who doesn't want to keep themselves accountable? Like, how are you supposed to get to where you're trying to get to if you're not keeping yourself accountable, or trying to get your team to where you're trying to get to if you're not keeping your team accountable? And so it's a big deal. But we were talking about it yesterday specifically because it's something that I'm struggling with. And it's something that I told myself, okay, all 2021, like my word is accountability, like keep yourself accountable. And then I find myself still a couple months later, we're only in April, and I'm like struggling with it a little bit. Um, and I just kind of want to pick you guys' brain of what do you guys think about, like what tips do you guys have, or might better yet, we'll start off, what story do you guys have of kind of overcoming that? Because I know we all have it where you're like, you feel like you're kind of stuck a little bit and you're not keeping yourself accountable. You know you're supposed to be doing something, but then you go on Instagram and scroll for a little bit, or you go and hang out with family when you probably should be working. And so it's easy for people to slack off. So what stories do you guys have, like where you felt like you were kind of in a rut like that, but then you overcame that, and you got to work and you got some good results?
I can jump in, Dylan, if you want. I have a story for sure. So people that know me know that I served a mission for my church, and for those of you that don't know me or don't know how a mission works, it's very, very intense. It's an intense schedule that you have to live by. I'll give you a very quick snippet. So every day it's like mandatory. You wake up at 6:30, you work out. By 8 o'clock, you are in your chair at your desk with full like church clothes on, right? Studying personally for an hour. Then from 9, so that's 8 to 9. From 9 to 10, you're studying with your companion, right? Because when you on a mission, you have a companion. You go with two. You go in twos everywhere. And then from 9, so that was 8 to 9, 9 to 10. And then from 10 to 11, since I went Spanish speaking, we did Spanish studying, right? So it's like intense. And then you're out talking to people in lessons, on the streets, whatever, all day. You come back for a quick lunch, you go right back out. You're most likely eating dinner outside with somebody else, right? So you're not really coming back to your apartment. You got to be back by your apartment by 9:30 at the latest if you're teaching somebody. And then from 9:30 to 10:30, you're pre-planning for the next day. And then you're getting ready for bed, doing what you got to do. And by 10:30, it is literally lights out. Your lights are off, you are sleeping, and you wake back up at 6:30 the next morning and you do it all over again. The reason why I tell you the schedules is it's important to understand the schedule, to understand the whole concept of accountability. So in the beginning of my mission, I had a companion. My trainer had some severe illnesses. Without getting into too much detail, he ate some bloody chicken that a person cooked for them, but didn't cook it all the way. And it was about two weeks before I came on my mission. And since that day, he's had like intense, severe stomach issues, right? And so when you're new, you're supposed to get trained by your trainer, and it's an intense training, right? There's a specific program for it. And it's a 12-week program. We probably did about 5 days out of that 12 weeks. All like 5 days out of 12 weeks, right? So I didn't even like get proper training, but I don't blame my trainer because he was like dying, right? And so we would be out, and then all of a sudden he'd be like, Morgan, I'm so sorry, we have to go back. And he would like fly back, and then he would like go to the restroom and like, throw up, whatever he was doing. And then he would lay in bed and sleep because he was in so much pain. And then I'm like brand new, and I'm like, what the freak? I don't know what I'm supposed to be. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. So anyways, again, I give you the whole picture to tell you this. I started off in a scenario that was not the way it was supposed to be because of all the situations that occurred. And so my habits in the mission started off not the best, right? Slept in a little bit too much sometimes. We weren't strict to the schedule. And then it came to a point where after those 12 weeks, I got transferred to another area. I was with a new companion. And him and I made a decision at that moment that we were going to be super, super dedicated and strict when it came to living the schedule. And the way I was able to overcome that was because of my why, was because of the reason I was doing it. And so I think that's a huge thing. And so that's the kicker, right? That's the main point that I want to bring across is what is the reason why you're doing what you're doing? If it's big enough, it's going to motivate you enough to know that the accountability of doing what you say you're going to do, the why is worth it. And that's going to drive you. That's going to be your driving force to continue to keep yourself accountable and keep your word. So for me, very, very religious, strong in my faith. I truly believe what I was preaching to people was what God wanted me to preach. And so because I have that relationship to my Savior and it's important to me, that was my driving force. So every day when I was like dog tired, I would roll my freaking butt out of bed. I would get up, I'd say my prayer, and every single morning from that day when we made that decision, I would run anywhere from 1 to 3 miles in the morning every single day for almost 2 years straight. And then I would get ready and I would follow that schedule that I just said to a T. And I did it.
But real quick, Morgan, before like I just because I don't want to get too far away. I just want to bring this up real quick. What about like for the people that that they have, well, maybe they think it's a strong why, like, you know, your relationship with God, with, you know, I'm doing this for my kids, or I'm trying to get I'm trying to get a house or whatever. Big deal, right? Like it's big stuff, but they're still struggling. Do you feel like they should pivot and think even bigger? Or like, is it just the why is not strong enough? They're not strongly connected to it?
Yeah,
Or
it's a great question. I personally would say that you're not deeply and emotionally connected to your why enough. It could be a huge why. It could be a huge why. It could be your daughter, your son, your wife, your whatever, right? It could be something that's really, really big that deserves your best effort. But if you're not allowing yourself to emotionally connect to that why, um, you're not going to be motivated by it. I don't care, even if it is your daughter, even if it is your wife. I actually just kind of put a post out on Instagram just about this specific topic, because here's the thing: our subconscious doesn't know right from wrong. It only knows what you tell it is the most important thing to you. So whatever you are most deeply emotionally connected to, that's what your subconscious is going to believe, and that's what your subconscious is going to put on replay and keep telling yourself, keep telling yourself. So if it's negativity, I suck. I don't keep my word to myself. I suck at accountability. Man, why am I not putting in the effort? I have all these whys, but I'm not doing anything. Well, then your subconscious knows that you're more deeply connected to the point that you suck and you're not keeping your word, and you're going to keep replaying that in your brain. So I think that's a valid question, Layton. I'm glad you asked that. The reason why I was able to do it myself was because I had so many spiritual experiences on my mission where I was deeply, deeply and emotionally and spiritually connected to that why of making my Heavenly Father proud, right?
So it
Of
changed it.
serving.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna add, bro, because it changed it, like, where I think that's what it is. Like, people need to feel something, like you said. I mean, your subconscious doesn't know the difference anyway. So the I guess I don't know, the difference is like when you actually feel something, versus just thinking it, it's a different ballgame. So when you say like, oh yeah, you're telling yourself daily affirmations, right? I'm super good at this. I'm like, I'm a champion, I'm a king and queen or whatever. And you know you're just saying it, you don't really feel it yet. But then when you say you suck and you really believe that, you feel it, like, dude, like, really, I suck though. Like, I'm saying that, but like I really feel like I'm trash. And so, but you feel way closer to that. And so that's what it is. So okay, I just wanted to unpack that a little bit because I thought it was super interesting. I know it's going to help a lot of people because exactly what you're saying. You got to make sure that you're emotionally attached to it, not just telling yourself, I want this, I want that. But like, what is it that like literally like where if you don't get it, like you're gonna be like ruined almost, like you're just like, dude, I need it to happen type thing. So anyways, that was just super awesome. I just want to say that.
I got a question for the two of you. So based on that, would you guys say that you're because it can be tough to be accountable, right? Like, you know, if you're true to yourself, in the back of your head, you're like, God, you know, I said I was going to wake up at 6 a.m. and it's 6:15, you know, whatever it is. So do you think it's easier to not only be accountable, but to stick to what you said you're going to do with that accountability if you have an emotional attachment to your why? Is that, would you guys agree, or do you have different opinions?
I think, no, dude, I agree because I think one of the things where it's like it's a self-confidence thing, like, but you give yourself self-confidence when you do what you say you're going to do, whether or not people even know you're doing it. Like for yourself, I think there are a lot of people that care. Most people care about people's opinions, depending on who they are. But most people care about people's opinions. But dude, what you don't realize is that you care the most about yourself for sure. Even if it's like an outward kind of like I don't know, superficial thing where it's like, well, I care about myself because I care about how people look at me, like whatever. You still care about yourself the most, where it's like, okay, I need to get my things done and taken care of, whatever. You need to prove yourself right? Like, or wrong in some cases when you're saying you suck, like prove yourself wrong, dude, do it. Like for me yesterday, when we were just talking about before we pressed record, was a huge deal was getting my blood drawn yesterday. And like, cause I'm just like terrible at it. But something I kept fixing my mind on was just like, dude, I just want to prove myself wrong. Like, I just want to prove myself wrong that I don't have to pass out every time I, see a needle, like whatever. I don't have to, just be a nervous wreck or back out. Like I was thinking about backing out, dude. Like the lady was there and I was sitting there like, oh, dude, I want to do it. I don't want to, like, but it's like, I'm getting, something way bigger. Like besides like, okay, yeah, I'm going to be insured now. I'm getting protected for my daughter, my wife. That's a huge why. This is what I'm saying. It's a huge why. But even that was still like, I was like thinking about backing out. You know what I'm saying? And that's like, that sounds wrong. That sounds bad. Like, dude, are you serious? But it's just, I don't know what it is about my mind. It's like people's mind. We got to trick ourselves to like, well, okay, what's bigger than that? And the thing was proving myself wrong and being like, dude, I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of like not doing it, backing out. But I let it go for 12 years. And so there's a lot of people out there that are doing things like that in different areas where they let some other things go for 12, 13, 14, 15 years without doing it. And it's like, dude, it's time to just change. It's time to prove yourself wrong and rewrite a different page in your story. Okay, this is where it changes. Doesn't mean it's easy, but if you keep your word to yourself, then your confidence will change. It'll boost and you surprise yourself, man. And that's where you really like, then you're happy. I was happy the rest of the day. I was like, what? Like I did it, bro. I didn't freaking die. I didn't pass out. Like, yeah, I was like nervous and sweating. And like she took my blood pressure. She's like, oh, steps off the charts. Are you nervous? I was like, yeah, I'm nervous. Like, do it again. So like she had to keep doing it again. But it's like the fact of the matter, as soon as I let her out, thank you so much for coming. I let her out the door. I felt like I was the mayor of Chino Hills, bro. I was like, oh, I just got my blood drawn. You know what I'm saying? It was like so simple and easy. It's just be a normal procedure. But for me, it was like this. You guys don't understand how big of a mountain that was to get over. So I think that it's just I agree with it. All that to say, I agree with what you're saying, Dylan. It's like for sure you have to you got to keep your word to yourself, because I think that's what matters the most.
Yeah, man, I think it's super important. And I want to like kind of go off on that, right? When it comes to leadership, for you guys, how is it that you've been able to, well, I want to relate keeping your word to yourself and then having the moral authority to keep other people accountable. Because I think a lot of us grew up playing sports. I know all of us did, right? Like obviously it's like high level athlete, you are, Leighton, when it comes to skating. Dylan played tons of sports growing up. I as well played sports. And so I think it's easier for us to understand about having a coach that keeps us accountable. And I think we actually crave that. Like that's something that we all crave, because so many people do better when they have someone else holding them accountable, right? They have that accountability partner. But when it comes to you now being a leader, you now having a team, you now holding other people accountable, that's the part where I think a lot of people struggle with. And I mean, all of us do, right? I'm the same way, and I'm still learning, and I'm on the path. So when it comes to like keeping your word and being able to feel like you have the moral authority to hold other people accountable, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Um, Yeah, so I would say, I mean, the moral authority is by you doing what you say. Like it's interesting. When you help someone go through a process, whatever it is, sports, work, whatever, it's always like at work, it's the manager that trains you, right? It's not the new person that trains you. Okay, so it's someone who's gone through it. And it's not a pride thing, but it's so you can actually give them real coaching, like through experience. So it has to be that way. And accountability, I mean, you have to be able to use your experiences to tell a story to the new person. And if you're accountable, then that's going to give you right from the bat the authority. And to be honest, like that person that's looking up to you is not going to look at you as the leader, the trainer, if you haven't gone through it, right? Like if it's all been super easy and no big deal, then they're going to be like, man, I don't relate. Like this isn't relatable because I'm going through all this and you just like flew past everyone real easily. And so I think it's huge to go through it. So I think as we're going through stuff, that's, we talk about the journey, right? Is where you learn. And it's so true because as we go through stuff, I always say we grow through stuff, right? So we're not just going through it, we're growing through it. And you think about like all these people when they come out at the ends of like whatever personal growth, development, what they're going through, they become such a different person, and challenges and things like that don't look the same to them. And to the average mindset, a challenge is a negative thing, right? It's like, oh, woe is me, this happened to me, blah, blah, blah. And so I think it's huge. I think you have to go through stuff to be able to have the authority to help other people. And it starts with being accountable. A last point I'll say is have someone to be accountable to, because as humans, it's very, very difficult, near impossible. I won't say it's impossible, but near, to be accountable to yourself and to stick with it, right? People do the opposite. They become accountable to themselves first, and then they say, oh, I'm going to grow the strength to be accountable to someone else. It should be the complete opposite. We're not strong enough to say, okay, I'm going to wake up at 6 o'clock and then I don't, and then say, okay, what am I going to do? What is something I'm going to give up or whatever because of a consequence of not waking up at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you tell someone you're going to wake up at that time and you don't, then you're accountable to them right away and there's an immediate consequence. So I think it's huge to have an accountability partner. And then that gives you the authority to help someone else and to be that partner for them as well. But what about you, Leighton? What would you say?
Yeah, I think it's huge, man. I think people just need someone to run with. Like some people, I mean, I don't know who it is, but I know somebody probably works better like as a lone wolf. And like, I just got to do it by myself. But like, bro, it ain't me. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think it's you guys. Like we need someone to run with. We need someone to kind of like, like I just literally picture like running on a track with someone, like you guys are up early in the morning training for whatever it is together, and you're so tired, but you don't want to show the other person that you're dying. And so you're like looking at each other and this guy's still going like, okay, I'm still going. Like, I'm good. But even though you want to throw up and all this stuff, like you just keep going. And so I think about that, man. People need someone to run with because even if you don't even go about it, like I need to keep you accountable, still just having someone there and letting people know what your goals are, what your daily tasks are, that'll automatically put you in a spot where it's like, nah, dude, you're now you have to do it because now the other person knows. Like it's not just letting yourself down. It's like, well, you told them you're going to do something and you didn't do it. Then it's like, okay, well, now you didn't keep your word to yourself or to them. And so it matters more, like you're just kind of adding more layers to it, like making it more emotionally tied. Like, well, I don't want this person to think that I'm like, I don't really work hard. And so you want to do it even more. So I think people just need someone to run with, man, and work with. And I'm that way 100%. And I think it's just super important. I don't think there's anything wrong with a little friendly competition, or even if it's not competing with the person, but competing against whatever it is that you're trying to get to, like compete against that number, compete against that deadline, compete, against whatever it is to get there. And that's really what drives me. Is just like, hey, I want to like, dude, I want to knock that out of the park. You thought I was only going to do this, let's go 3 times higher. So but again, that comes with doing it with someone. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I think it's super crucial what you're saying, Leighton, because if any of you guys have seen The Last Dance, the documentary of Michael Jordan,
Sure.
super good, man. That dude was like just such a beast when it came to his mental game. Obviously, his physical game was out of this world, but his mental game is what I believe got him to that physical peak. But something that he talked about was someone would like say something on the court and like it didn't even really have to do with him or he would just like he would take it and he would fixate on that and then end up using that as fuel to be like, all right, wait till we see you next. And then like his whole like all his work ethic was based around like, I'm about to just annihilate and embarrass this person. And everything that he worked towards was to really just get that done and embarrass that person and make them know that he was the best or whatever it may be. But
We
he
gotta go
used it as
back to that.
fuel. Yeah, man, watch it again. It's like on another level. It's so cool to see like his champion mindset. And so I think it's true what you're saying. Like even if it's not competing against the person next to you or whatever, but it's picking that thing that you're going up against to compete with and trying to accomplish. And I mean, obviously, someone that is the greatest, really, that walked this earth, it shows it. That's exactly what he did. So super, super cool. Last thing for me, guys, that I kind of want to just put in here. That's really, really crucial because someone might be thinking like, okay, I get it. Accountability is important. Got to have my whys. Got to be emotionally connected. But how do I get to the point of, moral authority? I get it. Got to do it. But how do I get to the point where I'm able to lead people? One of the things that I think is super crucial, a couple points, is you have to have a personal relationship with the people that are on your team. You have to, because if you have a personal relationship, then they know whatever you tell them, it's coming from a good place in your heart, right? That you're doing it because you care about them and you want them to be the best that they can be. So super, super crucial. When you have a team, when you have people that you're leading and that you're now holding accountable, make sure that you have a good personal relationship with them. Another thing is you got to be a do it first leader. Everything that you ask your team to do, you should be able to do yourself. And that's one thing that I was super grateful for. I had a mission president, the president of the whole mission for me. Everything that he asked us to do, he would roll it out in a training and he would do it in front of us by himself. And he would show it. And like, this is how it's going to be. So, right, have a personal relationship with people, be a do it first leader, and then ask for their permission, right? Ask for their permission. They give you permission to hold them accountable. Great. Then as you are a do it first leader and you get that permission and you have that relationship, then the next step is hold them accountable. Actually move forward with your word. And when you do hold them accountable, they're going to be grateful for it. And they're going to know that you're doing it from a good place in your heart and you're doing it because you want them to grow and just continue to help them. I'm holding you accountable because of your whys, of your dreams, of your goals. You need to hit this. So I'm going to help you get there, right? And always tie it back to their dream, not yours, but their dream. So I think those are really, really crucial points if you're trying to become a leader or you are a leader and you want to know how to better hold people accountable on your team. Those are super crucial.
Dude, for sure, man. That's another thing too, man. I just got another idea, bro, talking about building a team. So maybe, I don't know if that's going to be the next one or not, but I just thought of that too, because I know that's going to be, it's a tough one for most people, man, putting, like building a team, right? And kind of like, okay, well, how do I lead this team when I get them? So that's a whole another one. But dude, good stuff, man. Again, I love talking to you guys. This is super awesome. Man, I wish we could just keep going for hours because there's this is just a little snippet of it, and I feel like we'll keep going afterwards anyways. But dude, thank you guys. I love sitting down with you guys. This is super cool. I know this will be another one that helps a lot of people. So appreciate you guys.
For sure, man.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Pleasure.
I'll see y'all Tuesday, man. Subscribe, man. Stop playing. All right. Later, G's.
Later.